Former U.S. President Jimmy Carter remains in hospice care at his home in Plains, Georgia. At 98 years old, Carter is the longest living president. And more than 1 million families face this difficult decision every year.
Yeah, opting for hospice care, ensuring loved ones are happy and comfortable during their final days. Fox 5's Brookley Cromer gives us a closer look.
This is a touchstone. It starts out as a piece of clay. My brother's thumbprint is right there. And my thumbprint is right there. I can just put my fingers on it and I just rub it.
Diane Selman carries memories of her younger brother Tracy, a reminder of his love of music and football, and a smile she will always remember.
He was happy just with what he had, and everybody loved him, and he had the most beautiful smile.
A longtime volunteer at Hospice of the Upstate. She was prepared when her brother was admitted to the hospital.
And he was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer, and it had spread. And he was also diagnosed with COPD, and it was inoperable.
Tracy Owen's family moving him to hospice care at home.
It scared him at first, but then everybody is just so willing to make you feel comfortable, and he was very blessed to have been able to have hospice care at his end of life. It just gives me peace knowing that I have something that his thumb was on. It's imprinted in there.
Hospice of the Upstate cares for terminally ill patients and their families. And since it's a nonprofit, they accept patients even if they can't pay, serving more than 1,000 families every single year here at the Rainey Hospice House in Anderson.
Our mission is to truly serve that underserved population, all hospice patients, regardless of their diagnosis, and provide extensive bereavement support.
President and CEO of Hospice of the Upstate, Annette Miller, says hospice care allows patients to live more comfortably.
See a nurse, a doctor, certified nursing assistant to help with personal care, receive medications, supplies, a hospital bed, walker, wheelchair. Our services are tailored to the stage of the disease progression of the patient.
A benefit and a blessing for Tracy's family.
They take care of every need that you have.
In Anderson, Brookley Cromer, Fox Carolina News.
Now, there are more than 100 hospice organizations in South Carolina, and Hospice of the Upstate provided more than $100,000 of care to low-income and uninsured patients last year alone. And for the very latest on this story and much more in our area, be sure to go ahead and download the free Fox Carolina News app. The easiest way to get it, scan the QR code there on your screen, and it'll download directly to your phone.